Welcome to another episode of I Know Jax, the weekly TV show where I take a look at places to go with friends and family, cool places to hang out, go out to eat, lots of fun events, and much more. Basically, everything that's fun to do locally. I Know Jax is all about eating local, drinking local, and being local. I want to start out by talking about a really cool event I went to recently. It was a dinner put together by Chef Rosario Camarada, but at this event, there was a whole gang of local chefs participating, and the dinner was fantastic. It was all done as a fundraiser for the local nonprofit Waste Not, Want Not. Just take a look at this. You don't normally find this amount of culinary talent in the same room, but Chef Rosario was able to bring this all-star team to Atlantic Beach Urban Farms for a special dinner using ingredients sourced from local farms. This event was organized to benefit the local nonprofit Waste Not, Want Not. Didn't that just look great? And the location, the urban farms in Atlantic Beach, is such a cool place too. I know many of you missed out and didn't make it out to this event, but no worries. I'm actively working on putting together new fun food events for you guys. Make sure to subscribe to my newsletter, The Insider, and you'll be definitely the first to know. Maybe you've seen the story I did about Kenny Gilbert's place in Fernandina, or you might remember him from Top Chef. Well, today I'm visiting him at his new restaurant, Gilbert Social on Southside Boulevard here in Jacksonville.
We call this our social deviled eggs. It's not that crazy different. The thing what we're doing here is we're not going to remove the yolk.
So you're not going to take it out and mash it up like Grandma does?
No, we basically just do a nice hard-boiled egg. We're going to season it up. We make pimento cheese, and then we actually puree that in a food processor, so it actually is going to look like the yolk.
Okay.
And we pipe that on top, so when you get it, you're still getting all the yolk, but you're also getting a big chunk of pimento cheese to complement it. So then we have our pimento cheese, which is our signature here at the restaurant. We kind of pipe it on top like so. And we try to just have it where it's not, totally perfect. So it's kind of like each egg has its own
haphazard, just like a grandma.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know why I keep using the grandma reference. I think it's because deviled eggs for me mean grandma's house and picnics.
Well, you know what? I mean, our concepts are based on the idea of going to grandma's house and having just a good meal where you definitely don't leave hungry.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, grandma, no more.
Right.
I'm stuck. But then she puts something in front of you.
And then you get a piece of pie.
And then you get a piece of pie. We use the term redneck caviar.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Brown and yellow mustard seeds that we cook in apple cider vinegar.
A little tart.
A little tart. We put a little bit on top of each one. So then we have some andouille sauces. We get the Azar.
Oh, nice.
Local andouille. We slice it thin and we fry it up until it's crispy. And it curls up really nice, so it kind of adds a unique little texture and look.
Little look to it.
Sometimes just the food on its own is pretty enough. But like sometimes when you're describing it, you kind of like, oh, that's just deviled eggs.
Yeah,
not a big deal.
yeah.
But you know, these deviled eggs are certainly a little more unique and a little more whimsical.
Then he adds some Cajun oil and Kenny's Cajun spice on top.
She has, you know, the different blends in there. So when you get a bite, it's
a lot of layers.
A lot of layers of flavor.
Got it.
So these are our social deviled eggs. We establish this as modern and traditional Southern with some international influences.
Okay.
So we want to be able to have some things that you can relate to in Southern and barbecue, with kind of some vintage takes on it,
right?
And some cool modern technique. But then we want to also have some things that has some international flair and character that you wouldn't expect.
Right.
So we figured that ramen would be one of the best things to do because I love ramen.
Sure. Who doesn't like ramen?
So our tag is Southern Ramen. Ramen is in quotations because we don't use ramen noodles. We use Southern egg noodles. Our broth is made with smoked ham hocks.
Okay.
So we take smoked ham hocks, make it in a broth. We add bonito flakes, kombu, ginger. We actually use some of our jerk seasoning.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cross between the two cultures. The ingredients that we have here, we have baby kale, we have roasted mushrooms, we have a jalapeno shrimp cake. So we take our local Mayport shrimp, our local wild shrimp. We grind that up with a little bit of egg white, a little bit of cornstarch for the binder,
Gotcha.
and then jalapeno, salt and pepper.
All right.
That's it. We roll it up and we poach it off.
Nice. He had shaved radish, the shrimp cake, mushrooms.
And then the baby kale, which I love because it just adds texture and also
A little bitter.
A little bitter, some nice nutritional value
Oh,
there.
good for you. Yeah,
Good
we
for
will go
you.
for the good for you part now.
And then we have our pulled pork. So this is our smoked pulled pork.
Right. That looks really tasty, and it's a good sized portion too. Just pour that right over it.
Right over
wow,
it.
That smells good. He adds an egg that's been cooked at 63.9 degrees in the thermocirculator. That's a perfectly poached egg that tops it off and completes this masterpiece.
Then these are Benny seeds. We're getting this from Anson Mills out of South Carolina.
Okay.
It's like a strand of the sesame, but it's a little larger seed. A lot of great flavor. And then from there, we then take our nori and we just kind of put it off to the side. And that's it. That's our Southern ramen.
So I got in front of me here the Southern ramen that we made in the kitchen and the deviled eggs, Gilbert Social style. I'll see you guys at Gilbert Social on Southside. There are so many cool local restaurants in town. I have a long list of places we're planning to do stories about. There's just not enough time. That's one of the dilemmas you have when you're a small local business. There's never enough time. Maybe you don't know this about me, but I always say that like any other entrepreneur or small business owner, I have to wear too many hats. I don't have an IT department or accounting department or salespeople or heck, production help even. I Know Jax is a two-person team, and that's pretty unusual when it comes to making a weekly TV show. Usually there's a whole bunch of people involved in the process, but I don't mind being busy. You see, I see myself as a really lucky guy because I get to go behind the scenes, hang out in kitchens with awesome chefs, take great food, and do things that most people don't get to do. The other day, I was out on the water in Palatka riding around on a fast little boat and had a blast. You'll actually get to see that story next week. Every week I take a look at what's going on when it comes to craft beer events, and I know you're anxiously awaiting for me to tell you what I'm drinking today. So here it is. I'm having a Levadura Gosa Sour with salt agave and lime from Stillwater Artisanal Ales. Let's start talking about food, and particularly lobster. You might have noticed that Cousins Lobster and Neptune Beach have been making the rounds to some of our favorite craft beer spots, and this week they're making two appearances. First up, Southern Swells. They're going to be there on May 10th from 6 p.m. Karate in the Garage and Lobster? Why not? Then on May 11th, they'll be at Really Good Beer Stop, and that starts at 4 p.m. Lobster and beer, now that's a pairing. I'm going to continue with more food and beer. This event is called Sliding Out, and it's actually more of a farewell celebration. The food truck Sunset Sliders is sliding down to South Florida and are having their last hurrah at Main and 6 on May 10th. So make sure to stop by and wish them good luck on their new adventure. Sliding Out is at Main and 6 on May 10th and starts at 5 p.m. We're talking so much about food and beer that I feel obliged to throw in some sort of exercise in the mix. Veterans United Craft Brewery is hosting a spring 5K run on May 11th. That starts at 9 a.m. and you can find all the information about how to sign up on their Facebook page. The big happening this week is, of course, the first ever St. Augustine Craft Brewers Festival that takes place on Saturday, May 11th at the Fountain of Youth in St. Augustine. The event will feature more than 25 local and regional breweries, including Bog Brewing, Dog Rose Brewing Company, Old Coast Ale, Rev, Ardwolf, Legacy, Fishweir, and so many more. They also have local food trucks, tastings from the local distillery and winery, and live music. And Jax Brew Bus has a shuttle going to this event. St. Augustine Craft Brewers Fest takes place on Saturday, May 11th from noon to 5 p.m. You can get your tickets and find more information on their website. We have lots of Mother's Day events around town, and here's one that you might like. Wicked Barley is hosting a Mother's Day brunch and spring market on May 12th. Wicked Barley is always a nice place to visit this time of year when you can sit outside in the garden. The annual Mother's Day brunch takes place from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Wicked Barley. That's what I had for you this time. Tell me, what's your favorite craft beer right now? What do you like to drink? Now, if you're watching me online, just comment below and I'll see it. Or you can send an email directly to joe@iknowjax.com. Being a small local business is very rewarding. We do our own promotion, we sell our own sponsors, and we create all our own content. Now, if I may say so myself, we do an awesome job for our sponsors when it comes to finding local customers, both through the TV show and through social media. I have sponsors who have been with us since the very start of I Know Jax, almost 8 years. Now, if you have a local business and you want to talk to me about how we can help you, just pick up the phone and call me. I don't have a team of salespeople or anything like that, so when you call, you'll be speaking to me directly. You can find more information about I Know Jax and our sponsorships at iknowjax.com. Here's my top list of events for this week. I know Mother's Day is coming up, so I have a few useful tips in this week's top 5. Number 5 is Mother's Day Tea Party at the Lightner Museum. Treat mom to a special tea party a la Française at the beautiful Lightner Museum in St. Augustine. You get French sandwiches and sweet treats, and the ticket also includes a rare glimpse of Edgar Degas, the private impressionist exhibit. And who doesn't love St. Augustine at this time of year? Make a day out of it. It will be awesome. The tea party at the Lightner Museum takes place on May 12th, and you can get your ticket at the Lightner Museum website. Number 4 is Mutts and Mimosas. Many of my friends have dogs and they're always looking for things to do together with their dogs. And here's one that sounds like fun, and it might even work for Mother's Day. It's the 4th annual Mutts and Mimosas taking place outside on the patio of the Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel. They'll have a nice brunch buffet, mimosas, live music, and a silent auction. Your furry friends are welcome too, and this is a benefit for the Friends of Jacksonville Animals. Mutts and Mimosas takes place Saturday, May 11th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and you can get your tickets on Eventbrite. Number 3 is Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. There is a certain richness and power to the music that Bob Seger has been making for 4 decades. Bob Seger is a legend when it comes to American music. He's been inducted to both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And he's also a Grammy Award winner who sold over 53 million albums. And he's coming to Jacksonville with his final tour. So if you want to see Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band live, head to Daly's Place on Mother's Day, May 12th. Number 2 is Star Trek Live. Now, if you're a fan and you love J.J. Abrams' 2009 movie Star Trek, you can boldly go to Daly's for a concert that sounds like a real treat. The thrilling score is performed live by the Jacksonville Symphony. Maybe this is something for your mom too. Tickets through Ticketmaster.com. Star Trek is performed at Daly's Place on May 11th. At number 1 is Ain't Misbehavin'. This musical is a tribute to the black musicians of the Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s and 30s. Ain't Misbehavin' also won 1978's Tony Award for Best Musical. So I think this might be a great idea for you and your mom. Going to La Alhambra Dinner Theater is always a treat, and why not dinner and a musical to celebrate mom? Ain't Misbehavin' premieres at Alhambra on May 8th and continues through June 9th. That's my top 5 for this week. For more details and other events, please refer to my post with the catchy title, Fun Things to Do in May, on knowjax.com. That's it for this week's episode of I Know Jax. I'll be back next week with another show. But before then, I'll see you on the internet.